Oh yeah, it's AC season, dude. That's like
Yo,
nine. It's like 96 degrees today.
you gotta have AC, and it's muggy outside too, and it's like kind of humid and
Yeah,
wet out
dude.
there
Yeah,
too.
there ain't like no breeze out there right now, man. After we do this, I didn't want to. I would usually do this outside. You seen me.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah, yeah. You be out in
I
the
didn't
back.
want to do it outside. It's so hot out. I'm like, shit. I don't know if my shit's gonna like malfunction or not. Like
Right? Start getting all
being
sweaty
out in
outside.
the heat like that.
Oh,
But,
talk
yeah, I
about
mean, after this, I'm bringing the fan outside with me. I mean, I can't.
it. And take it to the
You gotta
outside.
have AC, but I can't sit inside.
I,
Uh,
I, I agree with you. I totally understand. That's for sure.
but yo, anyway, of course, this is Sundays with the General. I am joined by man. It's good to have you back on here, man. My man, Mister Top News, is you can see up his little banner in the background back there.
Yeah, yeah. Blue Collar Media Group, the team. Appreciate being back, man. I'm hanging out with the boss. So it ain't nothing better. Ernest, I know you out there somewhere if you watching. I gotta get with you, man. Me and Steve was just rapping about you too. But it's really good, man, to be back with the team, man, hanging out and things like that. And like I told you before, man, I had some issues I was going through, but now I get to be back. I get to hang out with my man, and like I said, ain't nothing like hanging out with the boss.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah! VIP treatment.
All right, we gotta talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, but I mean, you've been going off about the playoffs every day. You've had your videos coming out on your channel, so I mean, I figured I got to talk playoffs. I figured I'd bring you on.
Yeah,
Let's but before I get pissed off again,
let's
let's
go,
talk about the Western Conference Finals.
man. Let me tell you. Um, you know what we're seeing in the Western Conference Final right now. Um, I knew Dallas was going to be a tough out. I didn't think Dallas was just going to roll over. In the last game, they really didn't roll over. It's just a matter of when you get that depth lineup, and we get to
Yep.
talk about we get to talk about Steph, Clay, and Poole. When everybody, and even me for the matter, I got caught up in that whole deal. And then you get to thinking about, wow, Andrew Wiggins was an all-star. Draymond Green, yeah, Draymond Green is a beast in itself, right? So then you look at what Looney did the last game, and the culture over there, and the way that they're playing right now. To be honest with you, I really feel that they got the freedom, they got the coaching, they got the pedigree, right? They got the experience. And when you look at that, and you look at all the teams that's left, you say to yourself, like from this standpoint right now, they can really take it all. I mean, think about it. I mean, like the way that they're marching through and what they're doing to Dallas. And the last game, I thought Dallas had it. Luka was doing
I
what he
thought
wanted to do.
Dallas had it early, so
Yeah.
I couldn't catch it live. These not. I had to work
Okay.
yesterday morning, so
Oh yeah.
these 9 o'clock starts for a Western Conference game. I can't justify
All
staying up
right.
for when I got to be up at 4:30 in the morning.
Hell yeah.
I
But
can't do it. So
now listen.
I caught up on the highlights the next day, and that was my first takeaway of it
Yeah.
was the depth of Golden State
And you know
was
what it
just
is?
too much
Too
for
much.
Dallas to handle.
And you know why? Because if Steph is off and then Poole get going. And it's a crazy energy that they feed one another. Because if you watch Steph, when he on or off, whatever, they try to get everybody. Draymond gets everybody in the flow of the game. And when they get to hitting, they get to feeding off of one another. And they want to one up one another. And it's a beautiful thing because not only are they playing team ball, but nobody's like not so much overshadowing one, but if I hit a three, okay, then you hit your three. Then let him hit his three, and they get to going. That last game, when they went down, you know what they started doing? They started getting those two. They started making their way to the rim. They started making their every time you turned around, those that small ball and reference getting to the rim and scoring 2 points here and 2 points there and 2 points here, got them back in the game. And then as they started getting, and Steph got hot, he made his way to the rim a couple of times. After he made his way to the rim a couple of times, that's all he needed because after he got hot there and Clay got hot and Jordan Poole was making his way to the basket, Wiggins held him down in the first quarter, the first half. But in the first half of the game, that's what kind of kept him somewhat in the game opposed to like not really being in the game because Wiggins was doing his thing. But when the lights turned on and everybody got going, you seen the onslaught. And then Steph put him to
Yeah.
bed. He put him to bed,
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I think Dallas is just outmatched. Dallas is overmatched here in
Yes.
this series. At the
And
same time, Dallas couldn't have expected to be here in the beginning of these playoffs. There were people who didn't know if they'd make it out of the Utah series because Doncic missed 2 games,
right,
and
right.
then no one thought they were beating Phoenix.
No one. But you know what
No
happened
one
was
thought they were beating Phoenix. Phoenix
at,
just decided to not play basketball
exactly.
for
You know,
the
and
end
then
of the
on top,
series.
and Dallas figured them out. And what I mean by that, once they figured it to a point where whoever Chris Paul was taking, if Chris Paul gonna check Doncic, he too small. If he gonna check Brunson, they looking at like he too old. So and from and when they start that concept, don't get me wrong, like he still got game, but Doncic is actually too big for anybody. It's just when he like even with the Warriors, when you start thinking about like the beginning of the game, how he plays his own little in his own way of bully ball, where he back you down, and then if you're too small, once he gets you into a situation he in his zone, he gonna turn around, fade away on you, and hit that jump shot, that little 20-footer, 24-footer, and nobody can stop it. You know? And then when he get his engine going, it's hard as hell to stop him. It's just at some point he definitely need help because he just Dodger scoring and getting 40 or whatever have you, it don't help because he need Brunson or matter of fact he need Brunson and he need Dinwiddie to come to the party because he
Yeah,
Steph, you know, and it
but
ain't even time.
so this to me, what both teams being where they are right now, this says a lot to me about the Warriors. For one, this is continuing it after there was all not me. I'm sure
Right,
not you either, but there was a lot of people who thought that, maybe they really needed Kevin Durant to be as good as they were.
right. Well, you
And
know what?
no, because Kevin Durant has done jack shit since he
Leave.
left since he left Golden State. I mean, let's face it, he's a good player. Let's face it, he's done jack shit since he left Golden State.
Bottom line.
Golden
Bottom.
State Golden State is on their way back to the finals. I don't
Yeah.
this series I don't see going past 5 games.
I'm with you on there. I'm definitely riding out with you.
It could be a sweep. It could be a sweep. It could be a 4-0 sweep.
You know
I
what?
still think Dallas will get one game, will win one game off of just Luka Magic.
You know what? Today, when they play in Dallas, when you're at home, it's a different energy. You know, when I mean about different energy, outside of the fact that you practice on these courts, you play ball on these courts, you're in your own. You know, you get to relax at a different level in terms of being home and around family, and then on top of all that, when you big time and you come to my home floor, not only do I want to put a show on for the fans, period, but I'm at home and I definitely want to put a show on for the hometown, for my peoples, my family. I want them to see me digging your ass, no ifs and buts about it. And Dallas may pull one at home, but I tell you, if Steph and them go in there with the mindset of we really need to get this over, because you don't want to. There's no team you want to play with in these finals here. When we get to the Eastern Conference, we rap about that. In the Western Conference, you do not want Dallas to get that momentum or that confidence that they got in the
No,
finish.
no, that's if Dallas and I mean like if you're the team on the East and Dallas happen to come back from down 0-2 and beat Golden State, oh shit, you better be worried about playing Dallas.
You better be
I
worried
mean,
about playing Dallas. You
you better
better
be
be damn
scared of
worried
that
about
team.
playing Dallas. Yep.
I,
And you know
I
what?
mean, I mean that's hypothetical, but I do love what you said. The momentum when a team gets hot at the right time, and like that's what Dallas kind of did here. And I don't think it's going to work all the way for them. Dallas got hot
Oh, they got hot.
at the
You know
right
what?
time, but and they got hot in the playoffs. They won a couple series. I mean, you're in the conference finals now. You're probably not making the finals.
But you know what? Oh, what's the name?
But
When
this tells you this. I think this has to make Dallas more aggressive
more
moving
aggressive.
forward on building around Doncic because now this is like, hey, I'm here, dude. Like we're knocking on the door.
Totally. And another thing with Dallas, when you look at the Western Conference, they just full of beasts. Like next year, you're gonna have to worry about those Grizzlies too. But when you look at what the momentum with Dallas, like you were saying, and building around Doncic, Brunson gonna stay there. Mark gonna give him all the money in the world. You already know that. And Dinwiddie, if they are to win today, or if they win any of these games, Dinwiddie gonna have to be there just as well as Brunson, and they need every bit of 25, 30 points out of him. Doncic gonna get his, and that's on all it is Doncic has to really, because you can get yours, but he need to get those guys going early. Because if he get those guys going early and get them in a zone, he can always get his. And if he can get those guys early, he can get his. So what I mean by that is, once they start going, if they can keep it close to, if they can keep it like a 2-point game for him, those two, he can win the game and save himself for like the last quarter, because he got that kind of prowess in terms of backing him down. You know, when he get the back and Steph down, Steph ain't want no parts of Doncic. If you watch the game, every time it was a switch, Steph made sure you got right back to him. It was one time Doncic was coming down, and he had Andrew Wiggins was on his right. Steph was like, "Nah, get over here and get him." Like, "Nah, don't let him come over," because he know Doncic's too big for him. Wiggins got that wingspan and that height.
Luka is special on offense to me, man. He is just so smooth and fluid with everything he does offensively. It's a joy to watch, honestly.
You know what? If you watch his movement, right? You know who they kind of remind me a little bit of? Bird. Remember, like Bird? I don't care how slow you thought he was. I don't care how long you thought it take him to get that jump shot. But when he got it up, bam, it was automatic, right? And I actually think to myself, even with Doncic, sometimes he'll get to moving, and you already know he's going to do that step back. And it's like you got time, but by the time you get there, it's gone. And when it's gone, when he released it, you looking like, this shit is automatic. Yo, you see the one when he came down, I think it was in the third quarter, he damn near shot from half court. Like he was way out there. Boom. And when he get the flowing like that, he get those other two involved, and he get the flowing like that, once the rim become big like an ocean to him. Because if those other two can get going, and they can keep it close, he can bring it home. But then you got to look at the other side of that.
Yeah.
Steph, you look at those monsters right there. And
exactly. And like as good as Luka is, like we said, man, the depth of Golden State, you just don't. As good as Luka is, as great of a player as he is, and as good as Brunson's been, and I like Dinwiddie, but we're talking about Dinwiddie as the third best player on the Mavericks.
And you know
Think about who we're talking about as the third best player on Golden State is Draymond Green, probably, right?
Well, in scoring would probably be Poole. Clay.
Yeah, Poole. And you look at that whole lineup. I mean, after Luka, Brunson, and Dinwiddie,
what you got?
It's not much there in Dallas. There's not.
Nope. You know, and then it got to be a little tougher too.
Finney Smith is all right, man. Like I don't mean any. I don't mean disrespect to these players. It's just that Golden State has too much for them.
Yeah, and at any given time, right? And then again, like I said, you talk about a depth lineup, and then we talk about Andrew Wiggins, an all-star. So we got a depth lineup that can kill you, and then we got an all-star right outside of the depth lineup, and then you got Draymond Green right there that's orchestrating the offense, right? And then what we got, and if the momentum stays with what Looney gave them last time, what Kevon Looney gave them last game, the big man or whatever have you, and in terms of being like when and that's another thing when they started coming back. They started getting him the ball down low, and he right there, and he putting it up. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like he gonna fall down and gonna do like the Knicks. Like I call them the fragile fives in New York, because every time you turn around, they on the ground. I lie to you not. You just blow on one of our centers, and they'll fall the fuck down. Boom. What's the other guy name? Not Mitchell. What's the guy that was behind him, man? He got robbed for his money by messing with LeBron and the crew. Whatever his name is, he stay on the ground. I forget his name. He's the ground effect. Not Taj Gibson. It's the other one, man. He's on the ground effect. I forgot his name.
I know who you're talking, but I can't place it. I don't watch the Knicks as much.
Yeah, he's the ground effect. That's all he is. He's the ground dude. Because that's what every time he out there, he on the ground. I be thinking like, God damn, like every time he put him out there, he's back on the ground. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this dude right now? You know, he can't stay off the ground. But yeah, that depth lineup. And then you got, and once they get into a flow, and another guy they got that I was hoping I get to see more of, or got to see more out of him, Kuminga.
Kuminga, yeah.
He comes off like he's like 8th, 9th off the bench. Last game he ain't getting no run, but it's like I think sometimes you get too excited. He got incredible hops, incredible hops. He know the game. You know what I mean? He know the game. He thorough. It's just that I don't. He hasn't found his comfortability out there yet. And when you sit on that Warriors bench and you watching them play, dog, and it's like harmony, dog. Especially when they get going. And when Jordan Poole when he going to his bag, he's special, and he gives them so much that allows Steph to get some rest. He allows Steph to get a proper amount of rest. And when you out there, you need a proper amount of rest to be able to get out there and continue to do what you got to do out there. You just need it. And when Steph get that rest and he come back in, it's kind of like one of those things where the only way the Warriors is out of the game, right? You got to beat the Warriors by 40 points, or they're never out of a game. Word up. You got to beat by 40 points. If they're down 20 points, 30 points, and it's like 3 minutes left, they still in the game. You got to.
Well, I mean, but they have 2 of the top 5 greatest 3-point shooters to ever play of the game, and Steph and Clay, right?
Steph and Clay.
And Steph is the greatest 3-point shooter.
Period.
To ever play the game. He's past Reggie and Ray to me.
You remember back in the day. And
I think Clay is like right behind them.
Right behind them. And then you got Jordan Poole. If you watch in terms of like his game, and when you watch, I can tell he learned a lot from Steph. And like,
absolutely.
And another thing is guarding Steph and Jordan Poole and Clay for that matter. It's like running a marathon because they never stop. Who in the hell? Every time they get down there, they're running all over the place. And as soon as they touch the ball, they let it go. And it's like, what are you gonna do? They get to run it. You get to run it. It's like running track. It's like running around. You got to chase these dudes around. You got to come back on defense. If you're an offensive threat, and you got to come down there, and then you got to go down there and experience the fact of running and chasing these guys around. It get tiresome. That's why they bludgeon you to death, because by the time you get back down on offense, you're like, you tired from chasing this dude all over the court.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let's move on to this is where I'll do a little ranting here.
Let's go.
The Eastern Conference Finals. So the Celtics are down 2-1 now after last night's game, man, and this is a game that the Celtics should have won.
Yes.
As bad as they played, they should have won this game. Especially with the second half, Miami was like handing it back to you, and they didn't have Jimmy Butler. It was something that you should have won the game. Just you came out fucking flat as hell.
And you know what? I didn't know. Over the last couple of years, Marcus Smart has been getting into his bag. And he's been getting better and better offensively. His defense is there, but over the last couple of years, the offensive side of Marcus Smart has been blossoming, and given the opportunity to score, he has gotten so much better at scoring and knowing how to score. And that last game, not the first game, but the second game, when he was launching those threes, I was saying to myself, like, he tough. He'll make his way to the basket. He got a 3-pointer that to the point whereas is effective. Is effective.
People overhype, like they say that he shoots too many threes. He shoots like 38% from 3 for his career with like 6 attempts a game. That's pretty solid. So that's off the top of my head, so it might not be exact. So before I get some like analytics, like stats guy in the comments, like tell me I'm off by like 0.2 or something.
You know what it is about it though? Like when you play defense as hard as he plays defense, whatever he do on the offensive end, he earned that. Because he gives them all. Yeah. He gives them all he can give them on the defensive side. So when I'm out there busting my ass defensively, whatever I do on the offensive side is a pass. You got to give me a pass. I am trying to hold. I'm trying to stop whoever it is that's supposed to be that threat on that team.
Look at how much of a pass PJ Tucker gets.
Exactly.
Offensively, and I mean, good reason. He's been holding up Tatum.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
People are freaking out right now in Boston, man, that this is old.
I'm not surprised. You know why? Because when you get to looking at on Twitter, I heard a good one, right? Whereas they were saying like, like KD and Kyrie, they couldn't stop Jason Tatum. They couldn't stop him, right? Then Giannis and the crew, they couldn't stop him. It's kind of like now we get to Jimmy Butler and Bam and Kyle Lowry just came back, but they gonna stop you? It's kind of like, you done played you done went through two of the most effective offensive threats you can possibly go through when you go through Brooklyn and then you go through the Bucks, and you get here and sputter. That's why people in Boston probably bugging out like, if you was gonna sputter and you sputtered against Brooklyn, they'd have been mad, but then they would have, like you were saying yourself, but then they was going up against KD and Kyrie. If you would have sputtered against the Bucks, it's one of these things where like, damn,
So I agree with you, but I gotta counter it because I feel like Boston fans are forgetting that we went down 2-1 against Milwaukee. Jason Tatum had a really bad game 3 against Milwaukee.
Right. Yes.
And then he had a really good game 4. Then he had a bad game 5, and then he had a fantastic game 6. No, he had game 5. I think was like an average. It wasn't great. It wasn't enough. They lost. Game 6 was special.
Totally special. And guess what? The lights was on because momentum right to game 7.
Tatum's. I'd have to look again. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I saw something before. I remember seeing it during the Milwaukee series. This is why I can remember it. Is that Tatum, if he scores 16 points or less in a game, he averages like 26 or 27 points to get next game.
Right.
He only had 10 points yesterday. I think he's going to go off the next game. That crowd is there in Boston. It's going to be tougher to win a series now after losing this game. And you should have won the game.
Should have won the game.
But this series, you have to have known this was going 6 or 7 games. Right?
I think it's going to go 7. I think it's going to go 7. And that's
there are a lot of Celtics fans out there. There are a lot of Heat fans out there saying Heat in 5. There are a lot of Celtics fans who are saying Celtics in 5 after game 2. No. These are 2 good teams. This is a very good matchup.
It is. And and now the fear next should be when you watch what Bam did yesterday. Now you got Kyle Lowry back, right? If you got Bam and Bam stays in that bag, if Bam continues to move the way he moved yesterday and play the way he played yesterday, it's going to be a dog fight. Because Bam Adebayo did his thing.
I have to wonder now because that was without Rob Williams all last night. Right. Daniel Tice, when Daniel Tice is out on the court, these stats I can't remember exactly. I saw the numbers there. But the Heat are outscoring us bad when Tice is on the court. And I think Bam just kind of eats Tice up a little bit on offense. I think Bam tools with Tice. And I like Daniel Tice. I think Daniel Tice is a good player. Daniel Tice is a good role player. So him getting schooled by a guy like Bam Adebayo.
Right. Yeah.
I can't hate him for that. I don't think Bam's going to cook Rob Williams for – what did Bam have last night? 30 points?
31. Yeah, 31. He had 31.
Yeah.
He was all over the place, too.
Well, I'm a Celtics fan, so let's take my opinion out of it because everyone's going to say I'm biased. Do you, as a New York fan, think that Bam is cooking Rob Williams for 30 points?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Well, it just,
what it is?
He'll get numbers. He'll get some rebounds. He's not having a 30-point game on Rob Williams.
Rob Williams got different footwork. He can move a little bit better than Tice on that.
Yeah.
And Bam, and on top of all that, like Bam, he gets past Tice kind of easily. When he get the rock and he spin, he gone. Williams is going to be a little bit more body on him. It's going to be a little bit tough on him, and Williams is going to beat him up a little bit more before he gets the ball. Before he actually gets the ball, he gonna get bumped enough times to the point whereas when he do get the ball, I mean, to be able to make that move is still gonna be possible, but he gonna have to put some work in to get the ball and get to that
Yeah.
get to the rim, and that's what it is.
Yeah, the athleticism matchup between Bam and Tice is just completely one-sided in favor of Bam.
Totally.
And Rob is obviously more athletic than Daniel Tice. I mean, the Celtics, again, this is one funny one, man. A lot of Boston fans are now pissed off and freaking out because the Celtics are going to have to win a game in Miami now to win the series. Wow, I guess I could be more worried about that if we didn't just win a game in Miami by 27 points 3 days ago.
Exactly. See, so you know what it is. Again, I'm just thinking like when they looking at what they went up against and the things that they did already, they're probably in a situation where it's like, you know what, like they riding them out to the point where it's like this should be. We wanted to get over already. They just they wanted to get over already. And when Jimmy Butler went down and didn't come back in the second half, it's kind of like so now what are we doing? Like like again, like you said, that's why they're freaking out. Like we should have this one. We should be.
Absolutely. I understand why they're mad. It's just, I mean, look. Here's what I said. The turnovers, man. These turnovers. I want to give credit to Miami's defense because they're a low-coached team, but these are just bad passes.
Yeah, it's like purposely
some of these passes, man. I'm going to call Tatum directly. When Tatum hurt his shoulder at the end there, I didn't want him to go back on the court.
Right.
And then he turned the ball over right after he went back on the court.
I know what it is. It's
so bad with the ball last night. And Jaylen Brown had the worst 40-point game I've ever seen anyone have.
A lot of this. We think the shot selection was a little bit crazy.
The shot selection was a little crazy, but I can understand a little bit towards the end where he was the only one who was really hot with his shots. But his ball handling, it baffles me. The dude is an elite, efficient scorer. Jaylen Brown is
totally. Yep, I agree.
And he had absolutely no ball handling skills.
And he makes
And it makes no sense to me. I don't understand how you can be so elite on offense and not have handles
at all.
Yeah, like I thought that was like one of the first things that like comes to being elite on offense is you have handles. But his handling is bad. His free throws are bad. His defense has not been great. And I mean, it's just you can't come out flat like you did in the first quarter, and you can't come out flat like you did in the third quarter of game one. And that's kind of the problem that I have here is that I saw the stats. Miami's only won 2 quarters in the 3 games played so far.
Right.
Third quarter, game 1, and the first quarter last night. So the Celtics are digging themselves into such bad holes in single quarters that they can't win the game, even though they're beating the other team for the other 3 quarters of the game. And that's the part that bothers me right now. That's the part that worries me a little bit right now. At the same time, I'm not exactly worried because I knew this was going to go 7 games.
Easily.
Erik Spoelstra it's not probably. Erik Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. I think he's there are only so many coaches in the NBA that actually make real adjustments nowadays. You know what I mean?
And an adjustment he made yesterday with like giving Bam like the green light to just go in there and go off. He did. In 41 minutes, Jason Tatum, 41 minutes, 3 from 14 from the field, and only 10 points. That right there in itself, when you consider him and Jaylen Brown to be like, the keys to the car. If that's all he gonna give you, nah, it ain't gonna rock. I don't, and it's not gonna rock at all. Now, when you also you consider what Jaylen Brown did with that 41 points. He 42 minutes, 40 points. He was trying to bring it home by himself. If Jason Tate would have gave him at least a 20 piece yesterday, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
If they lost by 6.
Yep, we wouldn't.
If he gives him a 16-point game, we're not having this conversation.
You're battling. You're battling, right? 10
Like
points.
and that's. I mean, look. Now I've seen Celtics fans overreact and saying that Tatum's not a real superstar, like anymore because of no. Shut up. Like this.
Who's not a real superstar?
Players are allowed to have, huh?
You talking about? They say that Tatum not a superstar?
Yeah, I'm seeing that we can't be calling Tatum a superstar if he has games like this. That's stupid. We know he's a superstar. Players are allowed to have bad games.
You know what?
Unfortunately, he came out flat. He played bad for an entire.
Well, I tell you this. They can say he's not a superstar, but then they got to consider the fact that without him, we wouldn't even be in this situation right now.
Exactly. He's been in. I think he's been in the Eastern Conference Finals too many times to not be in that.
Right. Yeah, to not put him in the superstar category and look at like again where he has been really instrumental in taking the team. Look at where the team is at right now. He's not a superstar, and Boston is not even in the conversation right now where they're at right now.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. And then if he's not a superstar, then how did you guys get there? It wasn't just Jaylen Brown by himself.
Yeah.
And then Marcus Smart gave him 16 points yesterday. Al Horford gave him 20. Now Al Horford is sneakily having a nice playoff run. Al Horford.
Dude, I want them to win this ring so bad this year for the way that Al Horford is playing, because Al Horford, has anyone ever deserved a ring more than Al Horford deserves a ring for this year?
To leave, to come back, and then look and what he's giving them. When he in that series where he showed all that emotion and he gave what's the name? He gave Giannis the boom. Like, he's not that kind of player, but at the same time, I love that. I'm like, that's right, Al.
Dude, what? I want the picture of him doing that. Like, okay, bet. Nod at Giannis.
Yep.
If you can get me that picture framed and signed by Al Horford, man, I'll pay top dollar. Top dollar. I would pay to hang that on my wall.
And right after that, he went into like that game. He had that game. Listen, again, you gotta get more from Tatum. Al Horford has to stay right where he's at. Continue to do right what he's doing. He's making a big difference, right? And with the Celtics, I mean, in the worst case scenario, like he only lost by 6 yesterday, and it was right there for the taking or whatever have you. Outside of those bad passes, Smart went down for a second, Tatum went down for a second, and when Smart went down, did you see that ankle? I didn't think he was coming back.
Dude, all right. So first of all, now I'm seeing people like, oh, he overreacted with the way he was screaming. Yo, you ever had your ankle go like that?
To see that shit was kind of scary to me.
That shit hurt. I've had my ankle do that. That, for one, that hurts like fucking hell. I've had a sprained ankle.
Okay.
That hurts like fucking hell. 2, the other thing, man, an ankle injury is such a slippery fucking slope that in your head, when that happens, you have no fucking idea what that is.
And the other thing is, outside of that, it might swell up now, because he when he came back, he out there running on just adrenaline. So now,
that's one of the things. I'm hoping that he'll be good to go on Monday night, man. But dude, a sprained ankle? How the fuck do you play basketball on a sprained ankle, man? I know I'm just like a regular person, but how the fuck do you play
that kind of weight and being an elite athlete? And then, you know what? And when you consider like the way that he plays a defense, a sprained ankle playing defense, and then you got and then going out there and going up against Miami, and a lot of times, like he's the one that's up there. He's up there up in Butler's face. You know what I mean? He's the one that chasing Butler around. So it's gonna be real tough with that ankle being the way that it is.
I don't even know how you attempt a jump shot on a sprained ankle.
Not like that. Word up. And not the way that was. That shit looked real ilky. I'm just glad that he kind of like, understanding how to fall. Because if you'd have tried any resistance on that fall right there in terms of like really trying to stay the course opposed to going down the way he did, he could have snapped the whole ankle or something like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a slippery fucking slope, man. Ankle injuries are real slippery slope. So anyway, we're gonna move on a little bit of terrible Twitter takes.
Okay.
I got two here that I just got to go over. So I saw this one guy. He said this in a really funny way. Now, first of all, before I say this, I don't mean any disrespect to Steph Curry with this. This guy says, I'm a reasonable man. I am not changing my stance on Bird. Steph is better than him in every single phase of the game. Steph Curry is a great player. Better than Larry Bird in every phase of the game? No. You can't say I'm a reasonable person and then follow that up with a completely unreasonable statement.
Totally unreasonable.
If you tell me that Steph Curry is better than Larry Bird at rebounding or defense, then you have no idea what you're watching.
No, I have no idea what you're watching. And you know what? And when we get to comparing before and now, it's a slippery slope due to the fact that the ass whooping that Larry Bird used to take out back then, those fouls back then, if NBA was still like that, right? Do you know how many players wouldn't be playing now? You know, like we're going up against Detroit. What Detroit would do to somebody that was a Steph Curry that's hitting all those fouls are different.
Yeah,
those fouls when Larry Bird played in that era, that with him and Jordan and all of them went through in that era, those fouls are career-ending fouls right now. Like we're talking flagrant 2 every time you come down the court is a flagrant 2 at every.
Yeah. What's a flagrant in today's NBA? A flagrant in today's NBA might not have been called.
Okay, hold on.
It might not have been called back then.
And not only back then did Larry, and I listened to Gary Payton not too long ago. He said, "Yo, not only was Larry a beast, and Larry used to talk shit like you wouldn't believe, but outside that, he said, Gary Payton said, Larry Bird tell you some shit like, you know what I'm gonna do when we come back down, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna bang the 3 on you. I want you to take a picture of that, wrap that up, and give it to your mother for her birthday. Come down, get the ball, go over there, boom."
Have you heard the Sean Kemp story?
Nah.
So I got to tell this one before I go on the next Triple T here. So Kemp is the one who broke all Bird's records in Indiana.
Right. Okay.
So who the hell is that fucking phone call? So he said first game he plays against the Celtics. Bird sees him, he's looking him up and down. "You're the one who broke all my records, huh?" Kemp's like, yeah, I am. Bird said, "I got something for you." All night, Kemp said he just came right at him, and he just called his shot every time. It's going 3-point left. Right, and then he'd just go right by him. He called every shot he made on him for the entire night and hit all of them and just cooked him. And dude, Kemp was just like, "Man, there's nothing I can do about it. Like, you just have to show me up."
You know what it is, man? Like, you can't compare those eras, man, because the ass whooping those guys took back then, this era couldn't take those ass whoopings.
It's also the 2 different types of players.
You had to witness Bird, because a lot of people that talk right there, they didn't witness Larry Bird play ball. You have to go back and watch those tapes and watch who he was matching up against and watch what he did and how he did it, right? And all that time, He was talking all that shit. Nobody knew he was talking all that shit except you had to be out there. And when he was talking, anything that he said on the court, he backed it up. I'm gonna bust your ass, all right? And at the end of the game, this and the third, you know what I mean? I'm gonna come let you know I did it to you. Bust your ass, good game. He'll let you know that I told you I was gonna do it. I told you I was gonna do it. So if you got it's error, it's error mistakes. We can't compare those errors. And again, and when you go back and watch, Larry Bird couldn't jump, but then Larry Bird would dunk on your fucking ass, right? Larry Bird couldn't pass, but you see some of the passes that Larry Bird that he dished out. And on top of all that, at the end of the day, Larry Bird won. He won big, and he went up against monsters in the
So
win.
that's this guy saying Steph is better in every phase of the game than Bird. On defense, no. Rebounding, no. Shooting, yes. Passing, man, I think it's close, but I don't think so. I don't think Steph Curry's a better passer than Larry Bird.
I don't think he's a better passer. And again, you got to witness some of those passes. Bird
That's what I mean. Is Bird, dude, some of those passes that Bird made, because in my house, I was like forced to watch Larry. It was a really terrible thing for my parents to force on me. I was forced to watch Larry Bird highlights at a young age.
All right.
It was horrible treatment.
but Bird was really special.
Some of those passes that he used to make don't make any fucking sense. Like it doesn't make any sense how he made some of those passes that he made. But so this next terrible Twitter take, man. Now this guy was saying that his question was, who would have more success? A professional Madden player trying to be a head coach in the NFL or a head coach trying to play Madden? And man, he actually started defending the idea of a professional video game player being able to be successful as an NFL head coach because he'd know how to call plays from playing Madden.
You know what though? That guy right there, he don't. Again, this is one of these situations you got to be that. The speed of the game in real life is so much different than Madden.
There's so much more that goes in coaching a team than just calling the plays during the game.
Exactly.
Dude, just imagine some 20-something-year-old video gamer trying to command an entire NFL team for a live practice. That sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Real talk right there. You know what? These video games have gotten so good and the graphics are so great, but it's nothing like what really takes place out there. I don't give a shit how they hook these guys up with all this stuff and get them in there to get them in them little zones. We are talking about different beasts, and what it is that guy, I ain't mad at him, but that's like a little bit watching too much TV right there. That guy right there, he's going through something.
I can't even think that person's ever stepped foot on a football field because
get close enough to watch a real game.
Yeah, he also doesn't really watch many games. He must just play a lot of Madden. I mean, there is so much more that goes on.
Sometimes you get, sometimes I think sometimes when they get to playing those games, they play them so much, and sometimes like that. And don't get me wrong, the games have when I say they've changed, they changed, but they ain't changed to the point. Whereas what he's talking about, nah.
Yeah, no, they're not at that in depth. You can't manage a training staff and a millionaire's ego just because you opened up Madden.
Just because you open Madden, and then on top of all that, this is why we got offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators.
Yeah.
All that. So all he's talking about right there is calling like you said, plays for Madden or whatever have you. Nah, there's a whole lot more into it.
Madden sets your depth chart for you, dude. Madden sets your depth chart based on how skilled the players are. You have to do that yourself as a coach.
As a coach, word up.
Yeah.
Ain't no help there.
Anyways, folks, this has been another episode of Sundays with the General. Don't forget, this has been brought to you by CreationSnacks.com. Use code BCMG for 20% off. Order some of that Sweet Blue Victory from there. That's the BCMG candy itself right there. I've been joined by my man lighting up with the Glock over there, trying to get a cigar lit with the Glock. You know, I'm going to be
tell people, yo, listen, I
keeping it
grabbed the heat for
classy.
the family. I grabbed the heat for the family. Be ready.
My man, Mr. Top News. Why don't you tell people where they can find you, my man?
On the Blue Collar Media Group. I'm there hanging out. I'm with the boss today, so I'm having a great time. Yo, General. You know, it's a funny story. I keep telling people all the time, like, yo, he the General. I said, me and him picked that name out. Believe it or not, if you remember, we go back.
Yeah,
me and you picked that name out. Remember, we
yeah. It was because of that. You're the one who told me to make it a nickname after that homeless guy in Manhattan.
Yeah,
for some reason, all those homeless guys in Manhattan started saluting me and calling me General.
The General. I said, you know what? You got to rock with that.
Man, dude, now Ernest didn't remember the reasoning like behind that story. I was like telling him that story one night, and he's like, "Wait, that's how you became the General?" He's like, "Jesus."
Yeah.
He's like, "How do you have a weird story for everything like that?" I'm like, "Cause that's just the life I live, dude. Shit just happens."
Yo, you know,
homeless guy. Drunk homeless guys salute me when I'm walking down the street. I don't know.
And on top of it, you came to New York and you did your thing in New York and you got around New York like, all right, like, you know what I mean? No fear. Whatever it was that you wanted, it wasn't like you got in New York and you were shell shocked about shit. Yo, you was going to get your bud. You was making your moves. I'm like, yo, that's that General shit. Right
oh,
there.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember you were talking to me. You were impressed. You're like, damn, dude, you're just walking around a whole new city by yourself.
Word up, and going to get what you needed. Like, yo, listen, and I'm going to get me some blood. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Touchdown and go make it happen. Can't be that. But
I don't fuck around, man.
All right. It's a great time, man.
Dude, I went to both times I landed in Texas. I had a half ounce of weed waiting for me.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. That's
so, yeah, the General just makes moves.
Hey, yo, ain't too many people like that. No, they get there, they got to find something. They worried about something. Because, sir, you was like, nah, I'm going to get it. All right, I got it. This and the third. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. You know, you had to find it.
Well, I got to admit, it was pretty easy in New York. I was just walking in my hotel, and there was just a truck parked on the side of the road with a weed sign.
Yeah. So there you go, right there. I'm like,
they were just selling joints out the window of this fucking van on the side of the road. It felt so illegal, and I was like, wait, this is legal.
All right. Talk about it. I tell you, it's been great, man. Again, I totally appreciate it. Appreciate hanging out with the boss. I gotta get in Ernest. My man Ev, I'm not sure if you're out there watching this or whatever have you. Got a great hookup with you from Into the Lab. My man Ernest over there, San Antonio fan, hard body just like you, and he's in Texas. So that's a great connection right there. But hanging out here, man, doing this with you, man. We gotta do it again anytime. As you send me the link, man,
absolutely.
We can get together, man, and do what we do. The love for Blue Collar Media Group, the fellas in the spaces, you know what it is. You know, like I said before, grab your heat for the family and things like that. I can't wait. Yours is coming.
Oh, my man. All right, folks. You heard top news. Don't fuck with the family, and I'll be back next week.